Welcome to a new series on my channel. This is based on another series, the new Amazon Prime series that's trending at the moment in all of our social medias and all of our timelines, Tottenham All or Nothing. Now, I'm going to be very careful with these videos because firstly, this is just a review, so you're not going to see any footage. That's to begin with. I don't want this channel getting copyrighted. Secondly, if you are new to this video and you haven't watched the episodes yourself, then don't watch it because this contains spoilers because I'm basically reviewing the episode, although it's not much of a spoiler to basically conclude that basically nothing happened this season. But anyway, I'm going to be reviewing each episode as the episodes go by. So today, this is a review of episode 1. Now, as a Tottenham fan, before watching these things, you kind of get a little bit worried. You think that this is a documentary that is basically like Sunderland Till I Die, made as a laughing stock of the football club. You know, the big question really throughout this video is we're going to assess, is this a laughing stock or does this actually give us as Tottenham fans perspective of how our club works? Maybe for other opposition fans to understand how our club works as well rather than actually take the mick out of it. And so many other things. But basically, from what I've been told, there is so many things behind unseen footage of what we don't know and what will be revealed. You know, like Pochettino sacking, for example. Or, I don't know, Jose Mourinho saying certain swear words and picking on certain players, which we will get to. But for now, I'm going to start reviewing this. Now, Tottenham Amazon Prime series begins with episode 1 of the introduction, straight after the Champions League run when we had Pochettino. You know, beating Man City, beating Ajax, getting to the final, and then what was described as the Champions League hangover. Now, when you actually look into how Pochettino responded after that, you can tell really it was a Champions League hangover, and it was like Pochettino couldn't even be bothered to start the next season. You know, in his but you can tell that Pochettino was starting to have enough of things, and he was basically starting to lose the plot. That was basically the case. Pochettino even said in a quote that a house is going to fall eventually. I mean, he said he meant in general, not with Tottenham, but you could just tell from his facial expression that he sort of knew something like this was coming with Tottenham Hotspur. And, you know, it's kind of proven right, really, with the start of the season that they showed. You know, the first game that they show is losing against Newcastle and against Bayern Munich as well. You know, those were two very bad defeats. But Bayern Munich, by the way, if you actually listen very carefully, in fact, I'm going to show the screenshot right now with the subtitle.
How the do you concede 7 goals altogether?
That is actually me. That is my audio with We Are Tottenham TV. The sound of it makes it sound like I've got like a massive lump in my throat. And that's exactly what happened. After watching us concede 7 goals against Bayern Munich, I felt like I lost the plot. To be honest though, I thought throughout Pochettino's parts in the series, you don't really see much. You don't really see much after taking losses from Bayern Munich, for example. They didn't even show Brighton, and I'm glad about that because I was like literally right behind the goal when that happened, and I could just, if they were going to show Brighton, then my face would have definitely been seen. Because my face was seen on TV, I was getting memed and ridiculed for it, and, you know, I thought it was only a matter of time before that would make it onto Amazon documentary series, but thankfully it didn't. The part where it really, really highlights the most is his question after Red Star Belgrade. You know, I can't remember if it was before or after, but in both segments of those moments, before and after the game, you could really tell Poch was losing interest of even managing Tottenham Hotspur. He was asked a question saying like, you know, you began an era and it looks like it's going to come to an end of an era. And his answers were just so incredible that you would actually answer that to a press conference and not give that level of damn about anything else. You know, he was literally saying yes, no, yes, no. Especially to end of an era question, I think it's normal. You know, asking if he'll keep his job, he just goes, I hope so and I hope not. It was almost like you're seeing classic Jose Mourinho mind games inside of Pochettino. And the weirdest thing as well is that you get the perspective of the footballers. They talk to the camera on off moments, you know, when they want to go to a cutscene of asking a footballer's opinion. And you've literally got Heung-min Son and Moussa Sissoko, you know, before that Red Star Belgrade game kicks off, you know, asking their piece about it. And they want to play their absolute hardest because they've recognised that they have played terrible football, but they don't want to see their manager go. So they're doing everything they can to protect the manager. But it looked like Pochettino wasn't really giving much back to try and protect his players. You know, listen, I'm not making this as a hate video on Pochettino, but you've got to acknowledge that Pochettino did screw up this season, you know? And a lot of people are saying, oh, it's the manager, it's the players. Well, you know what? I'll get to that point in a second. But anyway, it then goes on to Everton drawing 1-1, and then Sheffield United also drawing 1-1, and then that is when the announcement is there, Poch is sacked. Now, interestingly enough, we were told that they would show the footage of Poch actually getting sacked, but it didn't. All it did was actually just show his desk getting cleared up by a group of workers. So in a way, I was actually relieved to have seen that, because I thought that would have been very disrespectful on Pochettino if they show the moment of being filmed, getting told by Levy, you're getting sacked. So I was that actually started to make me feel a little bit more optimistic about the series, you know, in terms of whether it's a laughing stock or not. Because quite clearly there is a time and place. They did have a filter on that, and they felt that it was only right not to show Pochettino's sacking. Interestingly enough as well, you actually get to know more about Daniel Levy in this first episode alone. You know, Daniel Levy looks like, you know, how we're told about Daniel Levy is he's like some quiet, shrewd man who doesn't really care too much about football, doesn't really show too much of an interest, but you can see throughout the series he's actually there at every game. Not that we didn't know that, we did know that, but you do see his celebrations and how passionate he is, because he is a Tottenham fan himself. He said at the start of the episode as well, you know, that I can assure you I've got a lot of businesses, but this is the hardest business to take on, and nobody will ever understand that, which is why I'll always get scrutiny for it. He said something like that along the lines. You know, what was really upsetting was when the manager was getting sacked, the stadium lights just turned off like that. You know, that really struck me a bit. I felt that was powerful, like there was no light or shine or future for Tottenham Hotspur, basically. And then this brings me what I was saying that I will get to. Was it the manager or was it the players? You know, what resulted of the sacking? And for me, I feel like it's definitely the manager. I felt like, you know, yeah, the players did play a part. They did act like they weren't playing for the manager. But at the same time, Pochettino wasn't really helping himself that much. And I felt like Amazon Prime Series missed out a lot of games like Brighton away, where it really highlighted and demonstrated how much of the plot Pochettino was losing. And I felt like they should have showed that game as well, but they didn't for whatever reason. Daniel Levy even described the sacking himself to be one of the hardest ever decisions. He was a friend of Pochettino outside of football. They've been on holidays together. They've done activities together. And he wasn't ready to basically try and reach out to Pochettino, because he would have understood that relations would have been quite frosty. So you can also see the raw emotion straight after it's done, you know, how he's feeling. So that was also very interesting, because, you know, Daniel Levy is seen as like a ruthless chairman who just sacks without any remorse. But in that moment, you can see the remorse, and you can actually tell from Daniel Levy's eyes that it was a very, very difficult decision to make. And I can completely understand that as well. It was genuinely a difficult decision to make after sticking by with a manager for 5-6 years. You know, this manager who was like one of your best ever managers you've appointed, and then you've got to sack him. So I can completely understand and get that. Okay, so this then brings us on to the next significant moment. The players' reaction to just seeing Jose Mourinho walk through the doors ready to sign a contract. You know, the players were absolutely shocked. That's a good thing as well by the series, by the way. You can actually see, you know, how the players operate in their mind. And they were pretty gutted that they lost out on Pochettino. Pochettino got sacked. Kane even spoke to Pochettino when he was having a conversation with Vertonghen and Ndombele, I believe. And he said that Pochettino was literally told straight up that he was called into the office and said, you have to leave tonight, you've been sacked. And you can tell that the players were... You could tell by the looks of the players that they really didn't know how to respond to that. But anyway, back to Jose Mourinho. Jose Mourinho walks in, he signs a contract with... it's actually Jose Mourinho's representatives with Daniel Levy, I believe, that when they signed the contract. And it's very interesting to see Daniel Levy's face. He's looking very confident with that decision, but at the same time, absolutely nervous. You know, I've just signed a manager who's got a really big reputation of losing the changing room. Am I doing the right thing? This, that, the other. But let's focus more on how Mourinho's entrance was like on his first day of training. Now, I've got to say, if you're a Mourinho hater, I wouldn't be surprised if you slightly shifted your opinion on him, based on that scene when Jose Mourinho literally just walks in and gives 150% effort to get to know the players, get to know the names. Going to Carl Walker-Peters, is it Walkers or Peters? And then he just goes, it's both, sir. And he goes, yeah, but that's a long name. It has to be one or the other. Asking Danny Rose, so his name's Harry Winks. Is there any nicknames? Winksy. You know, I really liked as well the relationship between Mourinho and Harry Kane. When Jose Mourinho is literally calling Harry Kane into the office and being so honest and upfront, saying, you are a star striker, you are the face of English football, and, you know, it will be such a shame if you don't win trophies. And if your club is doomed to never win a trophy, I wouldn't take this job. But I'm confident you guys will win a trophy, which is why I want to take this job, and I want to help you. You know, Harry Kane saying, I want to be like Messi and Ronaldo. Jose Mourinho saying, I want to help you get to that. So that makes you feel a bit confident when you see Harry Kane playing under Mourinho. One of the funniest things in that scene with Jose Mourinho as well is when he's in the office, just like looking through his papers, and then all of a sudden, you know, like he's got the TV on, and then they're just hearing people slate off Jose Mourinho saying he's an outdated dinosaur, and he just gets up and just goes F off and switches the TV off, and that just made me laugh. You know, that is a classic Mourinho thing to do. You know, the amount of swearing Mourinho was doing as well, which that was pretty funny, I would say. Speaking of swearing, you know, there's also this conversation he had with Dele Alli when he basically said to him, so I heard that you are the lazy one. Well, I'm going to be on your case and I'm going to be a pain in your ass. And that, I mean, it's brutal, but you could tell Dele was taking it on the chin. And it is true, you know, Dele has been seen to be quite lazy, bad trainer, as Mourinho described him to be. So it looks very promising that Mourinho is already doing something about Dele Alli. Speaking of further swearing as well, this is something we got to talk about as well. Because at the end of their training session, when they have to go in and talk tactics for their next game against West Ham away, Mourinho is literally straight up saying, you are a bunch of nice guys. But the problem is that doesn't make you win games. I want you to be... Right, how do I say this without demonetized? I want you to be a bunch of C words, all right? But not just any C words. I don't want you to be a stupid C word. I want you to be clever C words. And from watching all of this, you can tell that Jose Mourinho is nothing but a serial winner and a motivator. Even at the end of their meeting, you know, he even said, listen, you've heard this reputation about me. And you probably think, oh, my time is up at this club. The manager hates me. No, your time's not up at this club. Because if your time is up at this club, you wouldn't know it. Because I would tell you before you even realised. So that just goes to show how well Mourinho does as a motivational speaker. And, you know, going into a broken changing room that clearly couldn't do anything Pochettino ordered them to do to this. And it makes you very excited for the next episode when we play basically West Ham away. So what did we actually learn from this episode? Was it going to be something as a Tottenham fan to feel embarrassed about watching? Was it a laughing stock? Was it basically a Sunderland till I die or Arsenal fan TV sort of humiliation to dread about? In my opinion, no. I think far from it. If anything, I think that despite we knew stuff truthfully about what was going on behind the scenes, it gave us a clearer image of what was going on. And I feel like that's needed. I feel like, you know, we do deserve to know a little bit of the truth of what goes on behind the scenes, and we can actually understand a bit more things. You know, for example, Pochettino clearly losing the plot. You know, if we thought he was losing the plot, I mean, I knew he lost the plot, but I didn't think he lost the plot to that level where he just wasn't really giving much of a damn about the club anymore. Daniel Levy as well, you know, I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm still not a fan of Daniel Levy, just based on the decisions that he makes, but he's made a very vital decision to appoint someone like Jose Mourinho in. And also, it isn't quite the idea of neglecting a football club. So you sort of get the idea of what it's like to be a chairman, how difficult it is. You know, Daniel Levy does check up on the squad. He does check up on the manager to see how things are going, as you probably saw in the first episode yourself. Overall, I'd say this is a positive representation of Tottenham Hotspur during a negative time. You know, showing us what it's like to have to work under these environments. And I thought I really enjoyed the first episode, and I'm looking forward to the second episode. So, if you enjoyed what you watched, leave a like, leave a comment below what you thought about it, anything that I may have missed out on, if you want to comment on that. Hit the subscribe button, And yeah, I will see you on episode 2. So take care, guys.